I'm like Dark Man over here.
Purpose. No one can create your purpose for you. No one can tell you who to be. So in purpose, you have to create your own purpose. And in evolution, you have to evolve towards that purpose. It's easier to live when you have goals to meet. You understand? If you have goals to meet, then you don't feel so voided, and you understand why every day you're looking at this person in the mirror, because that is the cool part about the game. You get to be anybody you want to be.
All right. Welcome. You guys are tuned into another episode of the Power of Ownership Podcast. This is your host, Brandon B. Dixon. I got another all-star panel for you guys this afternoon or tonight, wherever you're at in the world. Let's go ahead and start with the introductions here. I'm going to introduce myself. We're just going to do a round robin, and then we'll go from there. And then we're going to get right to it today. We got a good show for you today. Let's go ahead and get it going. My name is Brandon B. Dixon. My NMLS is 1541210. It's at Billionaire Loan, also on all social media. Please like, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend, so on and so forth. Especially YouTube, we're at about close to 900 followers now. Let's get to 5,000. That's our goal before the end of the year. So please go ahead and subscribe on the YouTube. You go to my website, www.applywithb.com. You could go ahead and book me for a consultation, or you could apply for a mortgage right there. You can call me 24/7, 832-775-8357. Last but not least, you go to my website, www.brandonbdixon.com. Don't forget I'm a licensed realtor as well. If you want to lease, list, if you want to talk about any real estate investing, that's where to catch me on there. So, all right. So, David, we had you on the interview. Let's go ahead and get you going. David, go ahead, introduce yourself and tell them where they can find you.
Yeah, man. Thank you for having me on this evening. So my name is David Crawford. I'm a CFP with Edward Jones Investments. I've got a website posted below, so you guys can always go and actually post time to book me or come in and see me anytime. Remember, it's always free to talk to me. Always having fun with these two guys out here, and just feel free to look me up anytime. I've been in the Houston area for about 20 years, and just love what I do, man. Love working with people. Have a lot of fun with this. So it's fun, man.
All right, Anthony. Anthony's the second time on the panel, so you said you enjoyed it last time. So
yeah, no, I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm super excited to be here, guys. If you don't know who Brandon B. Dixon is, you better ask somebody, right?
Right.
This guy is a heavyweight in the industry. He knows his stuff. He's honest and he treats people well. So if you don't know, you better ask somebody, and you better be taking some notes. Anyway. Happy to be here. My name is Anthony, aka the Mortgage Prepper. Not like the survivalist, even though you kind of need to know what you're doing in this market, but more like a strategist, right? Someone that sees and understands the playing field before they even step foot onto it. Mm-hmm. What I do is I help everyday people empower themselves through prepared home ownership in a way that secures their prosperity going forward. Now, you can find me at The Mortgage Prepper on all socials. Put me in Claude, put me in ChatGPT or Google if you're still using it. But come check us out. Let's get you your own little piece of something that you can call your own, a piece of dirt, piece of land, the stuff that people are fighting and dying over for thousands of years. I mean, they're still fighting and dying over that stuff now. That's because it's a limited resource, right? They're not making any more of it. So head on over there to themortgageprepper.com. Come check us out and get us your own little piece of land. All right. We're super excited for this podcast tonight, and we've got some great clips. Brandon, go ahead and take it away, man.
Got you. So this week, I wanted to, definitely start off, since David's, you're a financial advisor. So I wanted to start off, definitely have a few clips on the financial space. So if this is your first time tuning into the Power of Ownership Podcast, what we do here is we have all the latest clips that's in our space, the viral clips And then what we do is we review them, then we react to them from there. We have the panel, answer some questions and stuff like that, and then we get into a discussion. So let's get into this first question here, and then we'll take it round robin. So are we building wealth or just financing the appearance of success to impress people who don't pay our bills? So I'll repeat that. Are we building wealth? Or are we just financing the appearance of success to impress people who don't pay our bills? So David, you want to take a stab at that first?
Man,
You have the financial advisor going after this one first.
these are the good questions. I know, right? Can I defer to Anthony down here? I mean, that's
right. Anthony, you want to go first on that?
Go for it, Anthony.
I love talking about this stuff, man. So we call it keeping up with the Joneses, right?
Right.
But here's what people don't realize: the Joneses are broke, right? Reality, what they look like they have money, but oftentimes they're one emergency away from everything coming down, right? So I think a lot of people's mindset right now in our social media atmosphere, where everything's for show, everybody's showing the highlights of their lives, not a true representation of what's really happening, or the effort and work that they have to put in to just show what they're showing. So you get a lot of people that see this and they look at it as it can't be that hard, right? There's an easy route to some of this success. So you don't see the work that it takes in the background. So it's easy to kind of figure that, maybe this doesn't require the type of work it does. So I think for the most part, a lot of people are stuck with that social media mindset where we're just showing off, but in reality, they don't have the foundation to actually sustain that type of lifestyle.
Yeah. I mean, I think he's right. And I mean, if you think about it, it makes sense. I mean, we got, if people look at it a lot, you see credit cards max to the limit. I mean, it's nuts, right? Student loan debt. It's just, I mean, I don't even know what it's up to now. I mean, I see the numbers and I just go, that's fascinating. I mean, it's pretty up there. And so, I mean, are people actually building that wealth? It's really going to depend on the amount of debt that they have. And I mean, I can't stress that enough. There's somebody that said once, like, the secret of life, like, what's the secret of life, right? It's being happy with what you got. I mean, it's making it work, isn't it? I mean, that's it. And so it's like, I just think that if you really look at the way that things are, Americans are pretty resilient, and they're hanging in there. They're making it work. So I think they're building wealth, but they also have to deal with a lot of debt, and it's just there. And it's a tool to be used to their advantage. I mean, if they use it properly, you can do a lot of good things with debt. You can do a lot of bad things with debt. It's a double-edged sword. So, that's kind of the way I see it. But I think he's right. I mean, right on.
I think the system is kind of geared towards the consumerist mind state. And I think most of the influencers and the celebrities and the e-celebrities are pushing consumerism, and that's what's driving the mind state. I think, are people winning? Yes. Are people building wealth? Yes. However, the masses are more flexing for the gram. They want the appearance. They want the dopamine hit. It's the cutting the corners to instead of wanting to be rich, they want to look rich, so they rather look rich than actually be rich, because be rich actually takes discipline, and to be rich is actually boring. It's not it's not an Instagram highlight reel that they make it seem. So a lot of people, go broke trying to chase that appearance, and a lot of unnecessary stuff. And it does for a lot of people. They do it for a lot of people that don't like them anyway. I had to readjust my, I shared this before on the podcast. I just sold my house in Katy like a year and a half ago. Like, damn, what, bachelor pad, what, like, why am I in this, damn near 3,000 square foot house, 7,000 square foot lot. Like, what, why do I need, You like
the cleaning bill. That's
well, well, the thing is that in 10 years, I was there from 14 to 24, and I probably had about 15 people over total, including mom, including, brother, cousins, and stuff like that. So probably 15 people in 10 years, so like, all right, why am I why am I here? So I downsized and got me something where I could just in the country where it doesn't have any curb appeal, but it's meat and potatoes, like because nobody's coming out here anyway. So that's the thing. I'm in Cleveland now. It's Cleveland, Texas, but it's nothing out here. I put the road in to get to my house. So
wow,
that's awesome.
Yeah. So, but
it does get pretty rural out here. I just want to say that. It's
right. Where are you? You're in.
I'm over here in Kingwood. I'm over here right by
you. So you're not that far. You're about 45 minutes away from me.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and roll the first clip, and then let's go ahead and react to it from there. So let's go ahead and get the first clip. But that's the setup here. Let me see. Let me know when y'all can see the screen.
Here we go.
Got you.
All right, got it. All right, let's run it.
Financial freedom. But most people are financing a lifestyle they cannot actually afford. And nobody wants to even talk about it because we've normalized looking rich instead of being rich. I see it every single day in my profession. People making $250,000 a year, great money, with $14 in their checking account on Thursday. Driving a $95,000 truck, $1,200 a month car payment, 2 vacations financed on a credit card, and eating at restaurants 4 nights a week. Then they'll tell you they can't afford to invest, can't afford a rental property, can't afford to save for a house. You just already gave all your future money away. That's the part nobody teaches. Most people aren't broke because they don't make enough. They're broke because every time they make more, they immediately upgrade their liabilities. Bigger house, bigger car, more subscriptions, more junk they barely even use out there. And social media, that just really made it worse because now people are buying things strictly for people they don't even like. Half the internet is people trying to impress old classmates they won't even invite to dinner. Meanwhile, the millionaire next door is driving a paid-off SUV, buying assets quietly, and sleeping like a baby at night. You want to know something controversial? Some of the wealthiest people I know don't look wealthy at all. And some of the brokest people I know look rich as hell on Instagram. That's why I keep telling people, stop trying to look successful and start trying to become financially hard to kill. Big difference, because real estate wealth is not the Rolex. It's not the G-Wagon. It's not the filtered vacation post. Real wealth is options. It's peace, it's margin, it's freedom. It's being able to tell a bad boss no. It's being able to help your kids. It's sleeping at night without wondering how you're making next month's payment. That's the game that most people are missing. If you want the truth about the financial habits keeping most Americans stuck, comment wealth below, and I'll send you some of the biggest mindset shifts I've learned after 25 years around the money and real estate. I'll send you my free personal budget I used to pay off $146,000 in credit card debt.
That's a lot of credit card debt, man.
Right. I love how he was talking about everybody else's credit card debt and then said, yeah, I had 146,000 myself.
Yeah, that is crazy. So let's go ahead and set up. I could imagine 140.
Crazy.
Yeah,
but he's a pro at paying it off at this point. I mean, he's got it down, baby. Like he knows. Like that's how you do it.
Right. So let's go ahead and get it. I want y'all to digest the clip. Give me your synopsis of the clip. Also, let's get into the post-clip question. Post-clip question is going to be, what's the biggest lie people tell themselves about money that keeps them from achieving true financial freedom? So, David, since you're the financial advisor, you want to react to the clip and then go ahead and answer the question as well.
I am. I'm gonna piggyback off the last part of it and move into this. Is that I think the biggest lie that people tell themselves that's going to keep them from achieving this is going to be the fact that it's going to be easy. It's going to happen quick. That's it. If you look at the world today, what do we got? The lack of patience and sacrifice. I think you and I talked about this before, man. Patience is a virtue. Like it's not a fun one. And sometimes it takes time. It doesn't mean that it's not going to happen. It just means it hasn't happened yet, or it isn't happening right now. And you have to change something about what you're doing to make that happen. And it's going to take time. It's going to take time. So, I mean, what do we got? We got fast food. We got speed dating, instant weight loss. I mean, this is good, right? Like nobody's patient. Sacrifice is hard and it's going to be hard. And as that happens, after a while, you'll get addicted to it. So just, be patient. It's going to happen. And it doesn't mean not yet. It just means it's going to happen at some point. So that's my take on that. I don't know.
Got it. So, Anthony, you want to digest that and kind of tackle the question a little bit?
Yeah. So, I mean, I think Dave's spot on, right? The fact that, there is a lot of instant gratification in our society. that does work against, you know, the whole idea of being able to kind of go the tough route and just kind of keep your head down and keep powering through. But it's kind of like, in my opinion, it's similar to when you're going to the gym or you're trying to work out in a way that you're trying to build those habits. You have to find a way to give yourself joy or create some kind of dopamine rush to the small, hard steps that you have to take, right? The things that aren't glamorous. You understanding that you're knowing that you're taking one step further on your path to getting to where you're at that financial freedom position. Just having that mindset that, yes, I'm not out splurging or gallivanting across the world right now, but it's because I am being able to help my kids when they get older, being able to do things for my grandkids. I'm putting that as a priority, right? That's where I get my joy from. Just rewiring your whole mindset on what you derive joy from. That's important. You're not going to be able to continue to look online and say, this is what's important to me, when you're looking at everybody else flossing and think that's going to work well, right? You're going to run yourself off a cliff doing that. So I think it's very important to rewire your brain and figure out what really brings you joy and what's important to you going forward.
Gotcha. I don't know. I'm getting to the point in my life where instead of trying to go upstream, it's almost kind of giving what they want. I don't think you're going to stop people from retail therapy, so to speak. You know what they call it. You know, people are addicted to retail. People are addicted to buying things. It's a dopamine hit. It's a rush. Some people are wired to go dopamine hit to dopamine hit. You know, so it's, you know, very few people are going to have the discipline to, you know, abstain from all of these little hits that they get, you know. So I think it's going to be a population of the society that's going to be slaves to debt, and they will never save, and they're going to be paycheck to paycheck. They're one crisis away from being bankrupt. Mm-hmm. It's always going to be there. It's always going to be there. And the biggest lie that people tell themselves about money that keeps them for achieving financial freedom. I like what David said about they're saying that it's going to be easy, but I think the biggest lie that people telling themselves is that that they deserve it. Mm-hmm. You know, that that they're entitled to it. You're not entitled to financial freedom. It's earned. You know, it's earned by discipline. It's earned by consistency. It's earned by abstaining. It's earned by being steadfast. You know, it's not popular. I'm boring. It is what it is, you know. So, and, you know, I don't care. I'll wear the black same. I have wear the same black, not the same one. I have five or six different ones. I remember like, but I wear the same type. I got 5, 6 different shirts, different logos, but they're all the same shirt, really.
Like Homer Simpson? Is that what it's like? No.
I used to have 200 pairs of shoes and all that stuff. I did with the gear and the $500 t-shirts. Okay, you get you unnecessary attention, and then you look at the attention that you're getting is not even worth it. So right. I'm definitely past that stage. It's not popular, and nobody owes you anything. You're not entitled to be financially free. You're not entitled to live the good life. You're not entitled to live what you see on the ground. You know, you have to earn it.
I love it.
You know, so, but let's get into this next question here. So the next question I'm gonna ask, let's point it a little bit different. Does making more money solve financial problems, or does it simply expose the financial habits you already have?
Oh man. All right, you want me to take this one? You want me to take this one first?
Yeah. The first couple are straight because I know you was gonna be on the panel this week.
Oh man, this one. So, I think as you start to make more money, what it does is it does solve certain financial problems. It alleviates some stress. So I mean, you start to feel like, okay, I can get ahead. I can start to save. You know, you have to become addicted to saving, kind of like you just talked about. Like that, maybe that is the dopamine hit. Like when you're a good saver, you're someone that wants to save, you just start feeling good about it. You know, it's almost like you start to train yourself. Like this is this is what I want, like this is good. And, you start feeling good about being a saver.
Mhm.
But it causes you to also start to realize it does a little bit of both, man. I hate to say that, but it really does. Like, it starts to show you other things that you like, your blind spots with finance, or like other, character flaws that people like you may have in yourself. And you're like, oh man, like this is not good. Or, I mean, you start to figure things out over time. And so it can expose a totally different set of problems later, so it is mo money, mo problems. I mean, it really does start to cause other issues, but I think it's really also how you handle it. How you act, like you said, your expectations. So, I mean, that's huge, man. Expectations, 99% of it, nobody deserves it. You got to earn it. It has to be earned, and you have to keep earning it. It doesn't stop. So,
Gotcha. So,
No.
Anthony, solve
Yeah,
it or expose your habit, expose who you truly are.
Oh, it exposes it 100% because we have so many examples. So, I mean, just countless examples of people
Mhm.
that end up with a lot of money. I mean, I've heard people say it all the time. If I just had 50,000, 100,000, 1 million, I wouldn't need money for the rest of my life, right? Or
Mhm.
you see
Yeah.
these guys with these good big contracts, and then in a couple years they're broke. It's
Mhm.
because having more money, like you said, David, more money, more problems. Now there's more money to be taxed. Now there's more money to be siphoned off from other people that attract to money, right? They're just like flies on what. That's what happens when you have money, is you have a lot of people attracted to it, and the money's going to literally fall out your pocket as you walk outside, right? If you're not prepared. That's why I do the whole preparation thing with the mortgage side. Is if proper preparation is protection. If you're not prepared and you get a lot of money and you're starting to make a lot of revenue, you will blow through that in a heartbeat, no matter how diligent you think you are. If you don't have a plan, if you're not prepared, it will show you all the cracks in your foundation.
Gotcha. I want to say,
that.
I don't know if you remember Dave Chappelle's show, and they had what's the crack, Tyrone Biggins.
Tyrone
And he had-
Biggins.
Yeah, Bigums, and he was like, "Yeah, the $1 million crack party." Remember that? So you could give a crackhead $1 million. All he's gonna do is smoke more crack.
That's it.
Right.
That's it. I mean,
So
I would like to think he would turn his life around if he had
most people
500,000 on crack and then 500,000
Right, yeah.
IRA.
is just gonna smoke more crack. It's gonna be a same amount of crack, So
yeah.
my point is that your habits are who you are.
Right.
Is what you're gonna do. How are you gonna know how to work money if you've never been taught that? You don't know what you don't know. You don't understand how money works. So people, I tested my cousin on this a while back, about 20 years ago. I said, if I was to give you $10,000 right now, what would you do with it? And like, yeah, I'll put it in the bank in case I need it. Yeah, like that was his honest answer.
Good answer.
I
That's
didn't mean to
I
laugh
mean,
at him. I didn't mean
Right.
to bless his heart.
Right. So,
Yes.
but what happens is it'll be gone because he'll find some other stuff. He'll buy more sneakers. He'll buy whatever, and it'll be
That's
gone.
it.
So most people look at money as something to it's like oxygen. I want to get as much as I can until it runs out, and they understand that in order to money is to make more money. That's the goal of money, is to take it and multiply it, to use it and do more with. Let's go ahead and watch this clip, and let's go ahead and react to it from there. So let me know when y'all can see the screen here. Can y'all see it?
Heard. It's that
Yep.
you be your own bank by purchasing permanent life insurance. My parents purchased policies like these, and they upfront funded it with $100,000. $100,000 that they were told they would one day retire off of, and that it would grow to be worth at least $500,000 by retirement. The time I'm 16 years old, we realize that the payments on this policy have started to rise. At the same time, I know this sounds insane, but my dad gets diagnosed with cancer. So we're stuck in this policy. We can't replace it, even if we want to. He's uninsurable at the time. And so they start to make payments. And we actually end up suing that insurer in a class action lawsuit. they're awarded $6,000 and they cash out that policy for $70,000. So they walk away with $76,000 over 20 years later from this policy. If they had bought term and invested the difference in the 80s when they bought this policy, and they had continued to pay for that life insurance out of pocket and left the rest invested in an average fund, it calculated to be about $3.4 million that they would have gotten back in their 60s instead of the $70,000 and the $6,000 that they got through the lawsuit. $3.5 million. Ask yourself today, if it's you, if it's your family, if it's the people around you, which one would you choose? So reach out if you need guidance, help, and advice in this area and anything else that helps make your money make sense. This is the worst financial.
Right. So, David, again, this is geared towards you. I'll let you digest that clip. And here's the next question that I want you to answer as well. How many financial decisions are people making based on trust instead of understanding?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
Oh man. I'll take this one first too, Anthony, because but I'm gonna make you take the next one. I'm gonna
All right.
do it, man. I think Americans have gotten really good at this, actually. Like I know that sounds, maybe I'm just really proud of people lately, but I feel like they've gotten really a lot better at understanding what their money is doing, at least on a broader level. And that's a good thing. There's been somewhat of a renaissance of kind of this like interest in markets and investments, and I'm just really proud of people lately, man. Like that's good, and they need to be interested in it. There's still a lot of trust factors that go into it, I think, no matter what. So that's always going to be the case, but as long as you understand it, I think you'll never be surprised by it. So
yeah,
that's what
I like that. I like that idea because number one, in the past, obviously trust, and I still think to some extent trust is the biggest lever for most people when it comes to being confident in what they're doing. Understanding has become a lot easier to, I guess, nail down because now we have the information is readily available. It's not gate kept, right? You can learn about markets without going to someone like David, right? You can learn about it. Now, however, there's also the risk here that if you think you can go watch some YouTube video or go ask ChatGPT and then think you can run out there and become a financial advisor, you're going to run off a cliff, right? You still need the expert, but now the information is available so you can kind of bridge that understanding gap. So before you were just talking to your advisor and everything he was saying was going over your head, right? You had no idea what he was talking about. You didn't have the time to go get your Series 6, 7, figure out all that stuff, right? So now there's information available. So when you're talking to someone, you're bridging that understanding gap. So it makes sense. You can learn it a little bit better. But yeah, I still think trust is a huge one, right? Because you still need the expert. No matter how much research you do, you still need the expert. And you have to trust that person, despite whether or not you understand it fully or you have some sibling of an understanding.
Right. I'm going to answer, but I want to kick it back to David on the actual clip itself. What she was saying, is that true or whatever? The financial part about the 3.5 million and all that stuff. But I want to answer the question. I think what happens is people trust the wrong people. They, especially in our business with mortgages, they trust what grandma say, they trust what uncle say, and or friends say that's in their ear, and they don't know all the ins and outs, and they're going based off their limited experience. So people trusting the wrong sources. Then you need to trust more of the experts. Do your due diligence as far as their reviews, and then trust that, hey, as far as mortgage, I wear the white coat. So they got so many people that listen to so many people in the ear, even the legacy media, even mainstream media, listening to that, and that's not actually the truth as far as in our industry, so they don't, and that leads to confusion or limited understanding because you got people that's not expert that's in your ear, and you're listening to them because you trust their your grandma or whatever. But hey, it's how stuff was 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 40 years ago has changed. Well,
That's right. I think he's right on. And like I had a buddy of mine that worked at a major bank. He was a commercial loan officer. Me and him started talking about a loan. So, this, if you guys get a lot of calls from this, this is good, right?
Right.
he tells me, he goes, "Hey, you want to buy this property? We're talking about it." And he was like, "You want to pay it off kind of quickly?" And I was like, "Yeah, I mean, I want to pay it off 10 years max." And he goes, "Get a 5/1 ARM, man."
Mhm.
And I was like, adjustable rate mortgage. Why would I do that to myself? Like, why would I get a 5/1 ARM? In 5 years, it's going to reset. He's like, "Dude, you're going to pay it off anyway. You're a total idiot. Like, why wouldn't you do that?" And I was like, that makes sense, like those initial ARMs. And I'm not saying that's right for everybody, because it's not.
Right.
And you guys are better judge of that side of the finance business than I am. But as you look at that, a 5/1 ARM in that instance would have worked perfect for what I was looking for. And I was like, he's right. All I've heard was ARMs are terrible. And I'm thinking about it from the finance perspective of like, oh, I'm going to carry this mortgage for like at least 10 to 15 years, and it's going to reset to the current rate, and I'm going to totally take it in the shorts. And no, 5/1 ARM. He was like, pay it off in 5 years. You were going to do it anyway.
Right. Well, the main thing about that is that you got to look at what's your exit strategy. Again, marry the property, date the rate. People always, I don't know, have some type of thing in their mind that is permanent, that I have to go to full terms. And that's not
nobody ever does that.
Yeah, nobody ever does it. So I don't know why we have in our mind, 15, year 14, I'm going to. Yeah, but nobody ever goes that long. So, always, it's not a permanent thing. You always can refi out of it, So,
that's right.
So that's the thing on that. Well,
she did. She real quick, B, she did make a really good comment, and I wanted to get David's idea on this because I've heard the buy term, invest the difference argument for a while. I was life insurance licensed in my past life. And there was a big thing about whole and permanent insurance versus the term, whereas whole and permanent insurance has these fancy things that sell buyers on why it's beneficial. It costs a lot more, but what she showed was that there's a lot more money to be made if you take what you're paying for that permanent policy, split it up, get the death benefit, and then invest the difference.
Yeah. I mean, that's basically, there's two kinds of schools of thought there, right? So buy term, invest the difference, which, term, because the cost structure is much lower, you're going to have a much higher amount that you could save. So this is just an example, and it's not for everybody. But, let's say you buy, $1 million worth of term insurance. You're young, you're right out of college, you need it. Maybe you got some student loan debt, you're about to get married, you're going to buy a house, there's going to be some debt there. You die, spouse is left with the debt, man, no money. So, you may need some term insurance. That $1 million policy for somebody of that age, if they're healthy, it's not much. I mean, you're looking, I'm going to say mid double digits, $50-$60 a month. I mean, they're 24. You get a 30-year term policy, it's going to take forever. They're covered for debt or for that $1 million payout for 30 years. So what if you could save $200 a month? At least you're taking $140 a month now and saving it somewhere else in the markets or in investments where it's liquid. You can use it. It'll grow over time. And you're assuming that investment risk for yourself. In that case, there's no guarantees of that. Of course, it's markets or investments, but you're actually covered still with insurance for 30 years and you're saving the other $140 a month. Whereas, just as an example, maybe that same $1 million policy, it'd probably be $500,000, like in her example there, because you're going to be permanently covered. So the payment's going to stay low the rest of your life, but that 200 is going to go to just that policy, and it's going to build some value in it. A lot of it's going to get eaten by the cost of insurance, the cost of the policy. Now, some people need permanent insurance. So it's really just on an individual case by case basis, and they need that kind of individualized insurance assessment to determine whether they're actually need the insurance or not. And that's so important. But yeah, I mean, I think both are good products. They just, it depends on really where they fit that need and what the client's looking to do. I'm going to pause and say, in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, 85% of Americans need term insurance for something. We just talked about all the debt they have, this consumerism, all of these things. They don't get it. They don't ever get it. It's one of the few things that either it's maybe they just don't feel like they're insurable. They don't want to make an extra $30 a month payment, which I totally get that. It's something where most of them need it, at least to cover some debts or family, just in case. So highly recommend taking a look at that at some point. Insurance.
Got you. All right, let's get to the next question, going to the next clip here. So if your paycheck stopped tomorrow, would your financial plan survive, or was your income your only strategy? So
all right, Anthony.
Oh, I'm dead.
I'm dead. Like, I'm toast.
I'm dead. Yeah, if my paycheck stopped tomorrow, I've taken a flight off a building somewhere. No, I'm kidding, guys. But yeah, so that's the biggest thing, because I've actually had scenarios in my life where close family members have had accidents or whatever, and they're not able to generate that income anymore.
Right.
Whether it's securing your finances or securing your future through insurance, right? There are a lot of different vehicles that you can put in place now to protect you from something like that. And most people have some basic semblance of that with their employer, right? With accidental death, all that stuff you can sign up for. But your plan has to include the potential for something to happen to you. That's why insurances exist. So if you're in that scenario, if you're asking yourself, if my paycheck stopped tomorrow, how long will it take before I'm in the poorhouse? That means you have to sit down and prepare with the right professionals and create that plan to protect you in that scenario.
Right.
I agree with that. I like that.
So I'll answer that. I'll let David get the last one before we go to clip. But most people are paycheck to paycheck. Because they either they live beyond their means, they're living over, what they're supposed to. Most people, and I get this all the time in mortgages. If I pre-qualify them for a $400,000 house, guess how much you're spending? $405,000. Can I get an increase? So, but really, you should be at that $250,000 house. And then you should double up your payments, and that way you can exit that mortgage. That way more is going towards principal. If you put another payment towards principal every month, then you control your interest rate, A, because you can't be charged interest on money that you've already spent, and then B, that chops down the term, because it now that the amortization schedule, I'm tongue-tied, I need some water, you bust that down. So don't forget that chart is if you make the minimum payment every month for that 360 months. But if you put anything toward principal, that tears that chart apart. So it goes away at that point. So a lot of people, what's my interest rate? What's my interest rate? Well, you determine that. You can pay it up front, or you can pay in term. You can pay more every month. You determine whatever you want. But so many people, it's an egoic thing that people are asphyxiated on that number. You control the number. So. But most people, yes, their financial plan is paycheck to paycheck and see what happens. too many people are just kind of flying by their seat, But let's go ahead and roll a clip. Oh, I wanted to get David. I wanted to get really your.
Oh no, I thought you guys did great, man. No, you're right. Okay. I mean, they're just paycheck to paycheck, and so yeah, you did good.
Let's go ahead. Look at the clip. Let me know when y'all can see the screen here.
All right.
I was a second overall pick in the year 2002 for the Chicago Bulls in the NBA draft.
Jay Williams, head of the field. Williams looking to penetrate and does. Sets up Michael Dell. Williams penetrates, whirls in the lane. Plays it out. Yes.
That's 4 years, $16.7 million. Year one, $3.4 million. And at the age of 21, I thought that meant I had financial freedom. But actually, let's run the numbers. Agent, 4%, gone. Federal tax, gone. Jock tax, gone. FICA, gone. And Illinois has state income tax. So after every 1.8, I was looking at just over 1.7 million take home that first year. And that's micro. Let's focus on the macro and zoom out. Bought an expensive condo downtown Chicago, lived next to Oprah. Took care of family, leased the cars, lived the lifestyle, had an EA, had a staff, burned through $500,000 a year just living. And I took meetings with people who talk fast, but didn't move smart. And then my accident, a split-second decision. And just like that, that earning window closed. No structure, no system, no second act. And what looked like 16 million on paper felt more like survival mode. Because cash without structure doesn't build power. It just buys time. And in this business, time runs out fast. That rookie contract, it's not financial freedom. It's your only real shot to turn active income into protected capital. And here's what I wish I knew. I'm gonna put you on game. Number one, set up an S Corp to collect your salary and 1099 income. Number two, Root that income into a holdco that owns your name, brand, and equity. Number 3, pay the holdco a licensing fee, reducing your taxes. And number 4, wrap it all up in a trust. Funded with a life insurance policy, now you've got tax-deferred growth, access to capital, and family protection for the rest of your life. You see, that's real ownership. That's real architecture. I didn't need more endorsements. What I actually needed was a board. What I actually needed was a system, a way to turn 4 years of opportunity into 40 years of control. Because the reality is that anybody can get paid, but if you don't own the blueprint, you'll spend your life being the product. My name is Jay Williams.
Man.
All right.
Golly.
So let's go ahead and digest that one. I actually didn't have a real question for that one, but I'm gonna go ahead and make the statement. I'll start first. But so ownership means taking responsibility not just for earning money, but protecting it, growing it, and passing it on. Would you agree with that statement? Also, I want you to digest the clip as well. So, David, you want to start off on that one because it's the financial advisor for, you know.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I better do a good job on this one. He notice he mentioned the funded with the life insurance policy. I just want to throw that out there in juxtaposition with that previous clip. You know, like that may be one of those instances where the whole life's needed. You know, like there's all kinds of interesting things that exist in that realm. It's just amazing to see what he achieved in his life. I mean, what an amazing person. Like I mean, a lot of people like see that and they go, oh, like, come on. I mean, he was NBA for what, 4 or 5 years. I mean, man, nobody could dunk on this guy. I mean, nobody could mess with this guy. And then, you know, he gets out there and he's successful. And I still think even if he failed some, he still was successful. He was more successful than I'll probably be. I mean, good for him. And then what happens? He gets taken by the system itself. He's like, he moves from, you know, king of the world with no plan and just going for it. And he's winning to like, wait a minute, this is not right. Like something's not right here. And it probably was a lesson that was real hard to learn for him. And I could just imagine what that's like. Like when he started talking about the taxes, he was like, and the state of Illinois has state tax. And I was like, man, in Texas, like we don't know anything about that. Like it's just like,
Right.
I mean, it was just crazy like to hear that. So it was real interesting. I mean, it was an eye opener, man. It was good.
No, that guy there, that's Jason Williams, product of Duke University, right down the street here in Raleigh, North Carolina, Durham, actually. But yeah, so I'm actually familiar. I remember when he came out of school, and I always thought that guy, you know, when you look at athletes, his makeup was one of somebody that I would expect him to be where he's at now, because he was always thinking about the next step. He had that mindset already. He bought a place next to Oprah. I didn't expect that. That's way over your toes there, buddy. But you know, that tells me that he did a lot of that stuff and he learned to err in his ways, and he put himself around the right people. What I do say though is I like to give caution, as you understand, David. Some of this stuff you see online, you got to be careful. You still need to talk to an expert, certified public accountant, that can tell you and really give you some details on some of those strategies, because it doesn't apply to everybody. The theme and the ideas is great, but make sure you surround yourselves with the right person, the right professionals, because that's the only way he was able to get to where he's at now. And he didn't really touch on that, but I guarantee you he found the right people to put him on game to talk about how to structure this stuff, what to do. And like he said, he wished he had found that stuff out earlier. Back in 2002, that stuff there was no Claude GPT to tell you what to do. You might have had to get an Encyclopedia Britannica back then. I still think they were still out there, but you weren't learning this stuff without going to talk to a professional. So it's still important to go sit down with a professional, because protecting the money is, I say, about 75% of the battle.
Right. There was a magazine back in the day that my cousin and I used to subscribe to. It's called Money and Muscle, and the theme of it, that's the two things the hardest to earn and keep. You know, money and muscle, because you know anybody. Like I said, I used to bodybuild, and like I said, you can talk about the shoulders and stuff. Like I said, but if you don't stick to it, you don't stick to the diet, you puff up quickly, you know, or you know, if you're what is it, ectomorph, you know, the muscle goes away quickly, so you have to kind of stay on it. It has to be part of who you are. So it takes ownership, is taking total responsibility of your actions, you know. So protecting it is part of the equation, you know, and passing it on. In Proverbs, they talk about a good man leaves a inheritance for his children's children. So that should be part of your equation as well. We had a few weeks ago, we had forgot the guy's name, but he owned an insurance business where it was senior care, like where you get to the age where you need that nurse, and there's insurance now,
like long-term care insurance.
Long-term care insurance, yeah. So you know, people don't plan for that. People think, oh well, the kids, but the kids, you know, might not have their own life. They, you know, you're burdening them, so
they still might be struggling. Yeah,
right. They still might be. So it's all of this is strategy, and then it hits to the first clip. He says something that's important, is that by you trying to keep up with the Joneses, by you flexing on the gram, you're siphoning away your future money. Because those car notes, that's money that you could have, like you said, instead of paying a $1,200 car note, I could, you know, just get a junker, or, you know, just something that's A to B. And then that $1,000, think about if I invested $1,000 a month for the next 5, 6, 7 years, you know, then and then left it alone until I retire. What would that be then?
Mm-hmm.
You know, so so but we need that car to impress that. We need that Urus, that Lamborghini Urus, just to impress some people.
Yeah, go ahead and get you that Buick LaCrosse and
that's right.
That's why I traded in the Range Rover and I went and got a GMC. Now my GMC is pretty nice too, but you know,
that's okay.
Yeah, you didn't see my truck, but yeah, again, I'm not into the I am into that's one of my guilty pleasures, but I downsize, you know, and I don't have to be flashy, you know, because think about it.
And that's the other thing, is that, remember, we don't have to be monks, right? We can still have I still like toys. There are a lot of things I like spending money on, right? But
did you see my behind? Did you see behind me?
You got that? What you got? You got a jersey in there?
Oh, that's the figurines?
Is that some Legos?
I got Transformers. I got Master Universe. I got Star Trek stuff. That's my thing, is 80s toys.
That's cool,
nice.
Man.
I like that.
Right. So I got some original Transformers. I got a lot of G1 stuff, but I've always done it. That's my two guilty pleasures are books. Well, I'll say books and 80s toys.
Yeah.
You know?
Bad.
Yeah, so
that's awesome.
Yeah.
But you got a jersey hanging up there. You got a jersey hanging up there.
That's not a jersey. That's my when I had my clothing line. That was my first t-shirt that I made back. I think this was 20 years ago, 2005 through 7 or 8.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we had t-shirts. We were selling $40 a pop, and that was the logo. Fukupami was the clothing line. So that's the very first t-shirt I made.
That's cool, man. I love that. I love that. That's cool.
Yeah, so, but let's get to the next question here, and let's go to the next. All right, so now we're kind of at halftime, but let's go ahead. Let's, I guess, quote unquote, pay some bills. But don't forget to like the video, share the video as well with your audience, and then if you got any questions, please ask us right here. We'll read it live here on the air. So I see we got Twitch going as well. I see we got a lot of people on YouTube and Twitch right now. So we need to get some more people on Facebook. I see, but let's keep it going. Ask us any question. We'll read it live here on the air, and go from there. So let's get to the next question here before we go to the next clip. Now we're starting to get into the meat of the conversation, so we're gonna start kind of twisting it here a little bit. It all relates, but let's go ahead and get it going. So hold on, let me make sure I'm at the right one. I don't want to.
This is where those fights. This is where those fights break out, Anthony, over all that real estate in Dallas.
So
it's like in Dallas.
If something is legal but feels morally wrong, should you still do it?
No, because
Right.
I mean, you got to sleep at night, right? So,
Right.
And at some point, I'm a believer in karma. I don't know if you want to get onto the metaphysical stuff about it, but
Mhm.
you just don't put anything out into the universe you don't want coming back out to you. So, you got to at some point draw the line and say, just because it's legal, there are a lot of things that were legal that are just reprehensible.
Right.
So you have to draw your own line, be responsible for your own morality, and you got to sleep at night.
Got you.
That's right. I agree
right.
with that. That's well said.
Gotcha. Yeah, now I want to play this clip. I put this in here. This is one of the ones that I kind of telegraph. I usually don't telegraph my punch, but I do not necessarily agree with what he's saying. So we're not playing this to say we promote this. We're playing this for commentary and educational purposes. So not saying we agree with any of this at all.
These are not the views of the Ownership Podcast.
That's right.
This is not the views of anybody that's on the panel. This is
Anybody.
Yeah, this is played for educational purposes and for commentary. So let's go ahead and get this going. And then, all right, let me know when y'all can see the screen.
It is back in the house.
There we go.
Well, Miss Good did her research. She found out that a certain property was under the control of a certain group, and that there was a title issue. Due to the title issue, she was able to assume the property under squatters' rights.
So everybody who lives here works so hard for their life. They earn their living.
I mean, my parents always taught me that you should work hard, pay your bills, and try to make a good life for yourself. They didn't earn this house. They didn't work for it. They just came and they took what wasn't theirs.
There's literally nothing more American than taking something that isn't yours. It's quite literally the foundation of the United States of America. But let's talk about the squatting situation, because what she did is actually perfectly legal according to the law. Now, you can argue that she should have went about it in another safer way, more low-key way, but according to the law, she did nothing wrong. Now, this is the flip side of what the media don't tell you. There's an agenda behind every squatters' rights story, and the agenda is this. They want to misclassify and give a negative connotation to adverse possession. My name is Jalil Bey, and I've helped over 100 people claim free and clear abandoned houses ethically using adverse possession. And just recently, I had a student that reached out to me and told me he found a property that's almost a full acre and has been abandoned for 7 years. Another student in South Carolina came across 95 acres, which you won't believe. Him and his people been on the property for a year and some change, like he said, and they've been building on it openly and notoriously this whole time. And you got to show proof, because some people are just not going to believe it. Now, those examples are to give you a glimpse into the other side of what the media will never tell you about so-called squatters' rights. This is something that you're never going to get out in the public unless you go to a law library. Statutes related to acquisition of title by adverse possession are constitutional. So logically, if it's constitutional, that means you have the right to do it. And thanks to adverse possession, I've been able to live rent and mortgage free for 7 years now. And I teach others how to do the same thing. So if you're tired of paying rent, or if you can't afford to pay rent and you can't get a mortgage loan, DM adverse possession and I'll send you over the link to my step-by-step ebook.
Less than 2.
Now again, I want to say that at the beginning. Again, we do not at the Power of Ownership Podcast support what he's saying. In fact, let me go ahead into it before I ask the first question. I had a friend that kind of was into that, and he kind of got paperwork and finally got the debt released from the creditor. Didn't pay his mortgage, and so on and so forth. But what happened is, when he tried to pull money out or try to do anything with the house, you're stuck. You're done. You're toast at that point. So you're living there, but you can't do anything. You can't sell it. You can't. You can't.
You don't own it.
It's nothing. You're dead in the water. But you have I guess you have a place to live. But and then as far as credit, your credit's tanked at that point. So, my policy is this, and then I'll open up the panel, and then I'll go ahead ask the question. Whenever you cut corners, be prepared for the consequences that come with it. So a lot of people want to cheat their way to the top, cut corners. Be prepared for the consequences that come with it as well. So the question is integrity doing the right thing when no one is watching, or just staying within the law?
I think when no one's watching, that's what I'm just gonna go with the safe one in there, because it's
right.
Integrity is doing the right thing when no one's looking. And that's it. And I think this kind of piggybacks off of the gentleman before that was talking about how money is freedom. Money is the power to tell your boss, like, hey, I'm not doing that, I quit. I mean, that's the sad part is a lot of people don't have that luxury, right? I mean, they don't have that luxury, but if they did, they may do that. They may do that. And so even at own personal sacrifice. So
right.
Yeah, no, I get it, and I completely agree. I think you have to be intentional about doing the right things, no matter who's looking. Right? Like I said before, you can't use the law as a measure of morality. And it's. I mean, we go back 5 years from now. I mean, I think my dad used to say this all the time. He used to say, back in the 70s, I could beat my wife as long as the stick was smaller than my thumb. Right? So the law doesn't really tell you what's right. So you can't use the law as your barometer. I'm going to push back a little bit on that clip, because the way I look at it, when I heard adverse possession, I heard eminent domain. Right? It's not the same thing.
Not the same thing, yeah.
It is a scenario where someone can take someone else's property, whether it's the government or whoever, right? And there has been precedent over the year where that happens. So if it can happen to the little guy, it can happen the opposite way, the way I look at it. Only thing that didn't really sit well with me was like you said, Brandon, you're cutting corners and it does nothing for you. It just gives you a roof over your head. And even then, that's tentative to say at the least, right? You're still watching who can come can you get back into the house. You're living on an edge that's not comfortable. So I don't see the benefit in that. The other thing I didn't like about it was I don't like neighbors pocket watching is what I call it. Right. Because if you're looking at my property, so that tells me that if anybody moves into that neighborhood, are the neighbors now going to start a whole investigation to figure out how, why, and what manner did that person earn the right to live in that property? That's what I didn't like about what they were saying about it. It's none of your business, right? But that's why I tell people, don't pay attention to other people's stuff. You're always going to go off a cliff doing that. Yeah, so I didn't like that part because now that just tells me you're going to be being nosy to anybody that comes in if you don't feel like they earned the right to live in that property. Now you're going to be checking the property records. You'll be make sure, how did they get that mortgage, right? Where does it end? But I get what the whole concept is.
Isn't that today's society where everything's at your fingertips, where they can see who you are, unless it's public record. They can see.
It don't mean it's right. It don't mean it's right. Mind your business.
That's right.
That's right. Mind your business.
Right. But isn't it getting to where everything is, public anyway?
Yeah, so, I mean, it being public is one thing versus you mounting an investigation, right? How did they know that she didn't own that property?
Well, that's part of the question. Even when no one is watching, if you did the right thing, it wouldn't matter. So yeah, look at me, investigate me. It don't matter. I've done nothing wrong. Now that's the fine between.
What did she do wrong? Was it legal? Remember?
Right. Now
because I did it legally doesn't mean they don't think it's wrong.
Right. Well, that's a different thing. If you got the house legally, and now they're judging you because you're a plant worker or something, they don't feel that's something different. But if you're nowhere on the deed, you're nowhere in the title, and people don't know who you are, and you're squatting on a house, and they feel saying like, "Hey, all right, you kind of stole this house. Again, you got it off a technicality that it was empty and nobody, then they have a right to feel a certain way because I paid, it was a $2.3 million house. I'm pretty sure everything in the neighborhood was $1 million plus, right? So like,
let me ask you this then, Brandon. Would it matter if Mr. Beast got that house and gave it to him?
Well, that's the thing. Is like that's a different story.
Did you earn it then? Right? You
Right.
didn't earn it then, right? Or right? How
Well,
did you
most
get the
people
house?
would sell because in Texas you would be able to afford the property taxes because the property
Well,
tax
yeah.
in Texas would be, you know, if a $1 million+ house, that would be like $40 grand a year. So they would be paying just, you know, half of their salary just to pay the property tax on that thing. So they would probably have to sell
I
it
believe
anyway.
both of them are wrong.
I got a lot of problems with that clip, and I just want to say I think there's a lot of like nosy ass people out there. Okay, I just want to say that for the record. So to his
Right.
point, you know, what they're paying attention, like leave it's none of your business, you know.
Right.
But then there's a point where it's like she kind of doing the right thing. I mean, was she doing the right thing? No. I mean, it's like I don't know. I mean, what do you do there? Like it's just, two wrongs don't make a right, you know. Like,
Right.
Well, I mean, I
we're all
kind
terrible.
of, you know, I get both sides of that, but again, it's their neighborhood. You would want them if somebody's breaking in your house, you would want your neighbor to call the police, right? So
Yes.
where's the line of mind your business? So you got to be careful on that. Like,
That's
all right,
true.
so but, all right, how much do you want them to mind your business? Isn't it their job to protect where you live at? I would want to know who's living in my neighborhood. If somebody stole the house next door, then all right, hey, I want to know the character of a person that, you know, that's living next to me. You know, so that tells me a lot about their character. If they stole the house, they're squatting on the house, you know, I want to know stuff like that.
I get it, and that's
Yeah.
something I would want to know, right?
Right.
But however, my the prepper background is what I got, right? Everybody is a suspect, number one, right? So I'm assuming, and I'm responsible for protecting my own, right? So I get what you're saying. You do want to live in a place where the neighbors, you know the the type of people you're around because you're raising family and children around them. So I get your point. I get your point.
Gotcha. Let's go to the next point here, or the next question. Has our society stopped respecting expertise and started expecting professional advice for free? Now I'm gonna answer this one first because this is a big thing for me, and I get this all the time, especially, from TikTok lives, and just people would chew up as much time as you let them, and lawyers, anything else, they charge for their advice, but for some reason, and I get this a lot, people wanted me to dissect. I had this today. People want me to solve the issue for them, but all right, my fee is an application. Can you do an application? Then I'll solve the rest of them. I'm starting to put that carrot in front of, because before I was just, you need to do X, Y, Z. Then they'll take that knowledge and then go take it to their loan officer, and then their loan officer will go ahead and close the loan. I'm not doing that anymore, So it's like, all right, let me check it out. Go ahead and fill out the application, then I'll go from there. And that way, at least I got the application. So but I'm not going to solve all your scenario for you for free, and you don't want to pay me, and I get that a lot, so people expect a lot from you. They figure information is out there, but you don't forget that the information out there is a lot of it's tainted.
Exactly.
So so you can get information anywhere. You go on YouTube, you can Google, you guys, ChatGPT. However, is that information correct? It says right there on ChatGPT, hey, it could be wrong.
They said Abraham Lincoln said, "Don't believe everything you read on the internet."
Right.
I mean, that's
well, the latest is that Abraham Lincoln was not actually a white guy; he was Cherokee. That's the latest.
Awesome. That's it. He was like, "Man, that internet, dude, coming. It's coming for you."
Right. So you don't know what you can read on the internet. You can read anything on the internet. But I'll open that up to you guys. Are you getting, especially David, do you get people that want to get financial advice for free?
This morning. I mean, all the time. I mean, every day. And it's something where I like to talk about it in general. Like people that know me, I have a business partner. She's lovely. I mean, she's just the best. And she tells me all the time, she's like, "You really love this," and I'm like, "Yeah." And she can tell. And she's like, I can put anybody to sleep talking about it, man. I mean, I will put you to sleep talking about finance. And man, I go into the same gas station for gas and stuff like that in the mornings. I see this guy there, works there usually just on Monday mornings and just over the weekends. me and him have got to talking a lot, and every time I come in now, he's like, hey man, talk to me about stock. Like what you got for me? And then, and I hit a point where I was like, wait a minute, like, am I giving away the milk for free? Like he's not buying the cow,
right?
Why would he? I mean, and so I started thinking about it. And even like this morning, to your point, I was very nice. I mean, very nice to him, but I was kind of thinking like, yeah, hey man, where you been? Like, call me, like, here's my card. You can call me for sure. Oh yeah. Let's talk about stock for sure. Give me a call there. Like I was just going straight back to like, yeah, why don't you give me that call there that, you have some questions about there.
It's called profession.
Yeah. That's
like,
kind of
that's what I do for a living. Yeah.
A little bit, and that's just part of it. And I mean, it's like, there's a point where, especially in my profession nowadays with apps online, you got Schwab, Fidelity, everybody gives it away for free. Right. If they're giving it away for free, you're the product. Right. Just like Facebook. Just remember that. Okay. I know that's weird. Sorry. This is being podcast on Facebook. Mark Zuckerberg's going to have me killed now or something. That's it. I mean,
the screen's going black in like 10 seconds.
Yeah, I know. Right. Like, who are these guys coming in? That's, yeah. I don't know. What do you think, Anthony?
Yeah, I mean, everybody's trying to get everything they can, right? You're trying to squeeze out as much value you can for as cheap as possible. So I'm used to it. Brandon, you go through this all the time where, people will call and referral partners are pretty notorious for that as well, where sometimes you get realtors call and just ask you, general questions on other deals, which I'm happy to help out when it comes to that. But I just think I've expected that for so long. That's just kind of been status quo. So at some point, yes, we all have to draw a line and say, okay, this is a business conversation that has to happen on my business track, right? Whether that's during my business hours, on my business line, according to my business profile, right? So at some point, you got to draw the line and determine what your worth is. But hey, at this stage, I think everybody's trying to get a little bit for free, and we have to get good at teasing them a little bit and reeling them in. I think that's going to be the whole game.
I think that's the key because, like I said, it's a very, very fine line before you can't be too abrupt and too direct because then you turn them all the way off. And then you can't give them the keys to the car either, and then because they'll drive off, without you,
without selling it to them first.
Right.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
It's a fine line. So it's that tap dance, like, but the audacity is crazy though. Like, people don't even say thank you for your time anymore. It's like it's almost expected. Like, all right, so I had somebody call me on 4th of July. Try to talk my head off for 2 hours on 4th of July, which I don't mind because I'm 24/7. Cool. You hit me from every angle. All right. So don't forget you got to do an app. Go ahead and do the application. Well, can I just give you my social security number and you check my credit? No. You have to do an application. I'm not getting your social. That way you say, hey, I didn't authorize them to do that. Are we is this a joke? Is Ashton Kutcher gonna come out here or something like that? So but people will use as much time as you want to. So I started to do this. We used to call this in retail. I sell them out the store. That's why I say call me 24/7. So all right, you want to call me? I'm all right. I'm gonna be Chief Longwind. I'm gonna talk. So you want to talk? All right, I'm gonna talk. Be prepared to talk. You think you call me at an awkward time or so I'm gonna keep
That's classic. I love it.
So we used to do that in retail. People that just looking. All right, well I'm gonna keep selling you. All right, well what about this? Check this out. Check this out. So I'm gonna bother you so much that you're gonna leave out the store because if you're not buying anything, we used to call it sell them out the store.
To keep you busy. I'm gonna keep you here until you buy something.
No,
you know what I mean?
Right, I'm gonna meet fire with fire. You want to burn my time? Let's burn it. So let's go ahead to the next clip and let's go ahead and react to it from there. Let's get it going. We're almost to the end here, to the meat. We got about 2-3 more clips there. Let's go.
To hear this story, a home buyer in Miami just got hit with a $48 million judgment after cutting his real estate agent out of an $84,000 commission. According to the lawsuit, in 2018, the broker worked with the buyer for over a year. He helped search for properties and negotiated a waterfront home listed around $2.9 million and got the deal to a number the seller would apparently take, $2.8 million. Then the buyer calls and says, never mind, we're not interested. But less than 2 hours, an offer comes in on the same property at the same price, except now the buyer's sister is listed as the broker. The deal closes. The original broker is cut out. The commission at issue was around $84,000. So the broker sues the buyer. And after 6 years, the jury doesn't just say, pay him the commission. They find fraud, tortious interference, and conspiracy and hit the buyer with nearly $48 million in damages. Now, people are split on this. Some people think $48 million for an $84,000 commission dispute is insane, and I get it. That's a massive number. The buyer's attorney called it so excessive it shocks the conscience. He expects it to get reduced or overturned. But here's what the jury found. This was about the behavior. The buyer exploited a relationship, used someone's time, their expertise, their negotiation skills, and then tried to erase them from the deal like they were a free trial he forgot to cancel. And that is fraud. And a jury of regular people agreed. So if you're a homeowner or a buyer watching this, understand something. Your agent works for you. They put in the hours. They negotiate for you. They protect you in the transaction. And that relationship has value. Trying to game the system to avoid paying someone the commission that they earned is risky. And there's a massive difference between I changed my mind and I used you, took the deal, rerouted the commission, and dared you to sue me. That's the line. And this jury drew it in permanent marker. And this is why your documentation matters, your text, your emails, your buyer agreements, because in real estate, everyone loves to say agents are overpaid. But the second an agent's work produces a deal, suddenly everyone wants to pretend the work had no value. So if you're an agent, stop operating on vibes and handshakes and treat your business like a business. And if you're a buyer or seller, understand this. You don't get to use someone's expertise, relationships, negotiation, and time, and then cut them off at the finish line. What do you think?
Right. I had something similar. Anthony, I don't know if you get this a lot as well. I get a lot of people ghost a lot, you know what I'm saying? So had this woman pre-qual for almost 2 months. I almost had to re-pull credit. She finally goes under contract. And I told her, hey, this is kind of, I extended, the amount twice. I'm like, this is really over your budget, and I'll tell you why, boom, I went down list, all right, you want to go with it? All right, how much I'm going to be paying? All right, yeah, this is, don't forget, it's still going to be 35% down because it's hard money, blah, blah, blah. And, she gave her an approximate figure, calls me back tonight. This is, I'm gonna go ahead and change my mind, but I thank you for everything. Like, why did you pick that particular house? Also, won't you just find something else before you just start trying to ghost? Right. So what I think would happen is you probably trying to shop me in this, or try to go with because this was a TikTok lead, but trying to go with somebody else that your realtor suggested, but you try to play falling down the stairs with me. You ever see Coming to America? You threw himself down the stairs. You're like, rents due. Don't be playing that falling down the stairs. You conscious. So they try to play like they're not conscious of what they're doing. You know exactly what you're doing, but. Yeah. I get this a lot. Like, I don't say that part a lot, but I get people trying to use me for my expertise and then not trying to pay me. But I want y'all to digest this clip, and then I'm looking for the actual question here. Here we go. All right. So, here we go. So, should integrity matter more than finding a legal way to avoid paying someone what they've earned?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is the line that we were talking about all night, where it's what's legal, what's right. Okay, I think for most people, when it comes to money, if they can weasel their way out of it, they'll sleep pretty well at night. That's the sad part, is that when it comes to money, people are willing to walk and skirt that moral line and feel better about themselves because they saved money. Now, oftentimes what ends up happening is when you're trying to put that type of energy out, you end up getting burned anyway, right? So something's going to happen. The universe always resettles itself, rebalances its debts. So whatever you're doing out there, you're trying to avoid paying someone what they're worth, you're going to get it back. So, this is just another morality question where, depending on how you were raised, your morals, some people might feel obligated to honor people's time and their value. And some people they're just out to get and take as much as they can take. And, it's not my job to worry about that. It sucks, but you move on and you let the universe take its trash out.
Right.
David, I like his optimism there, man. Like I thought that was good.
It just gives you a lot of. I've had terrible anxiety and just depression over, because I'm always like being perfect, right? So I always like to over deliver value, and when someone takes advantage of you, it bothers you, right? So the only way for me to stay on a positive note is to actively monitor my thoughts. Say, hey, that's them. They'll get theirs. Move on to the next person.
I think that's right. I think that's the best way to handle that. Like that's right on, man. Is you got to basically brush it off and just remember that other people don't define your worth ever. You're worth that. And I mean, I don't even want to add it up, guys. I know how many realtors I've paid in this town, and I can tell you right now, I'm going to pay more. And I don't care. I don't care. Like, they make my job easy. They do their job. They are worth every dollar of it. People go, I want extra for that transaction. I want to worry about those, like with Brandon, he says, man, I had this lady, she was qualified, she's ready. Know what her worth was. She wasn't ready for him. That's what happened there. She wasn't ready. And that's where it's like, she doesn't define his worth, and it still is a bummer. Like, as professionals, you look at it and you're excited about working with those people because you really can help them, and that they're going to be good clients. They're going to make your business work better, and they're going to be good referral sources, or they're going to help your business, but also you can help them. And so it's a mutual thing where then at some point you realize that they didn't help my business at all. I helped them, and that was it. And so I chalk it up to the pro bono universe, and that what goes around comes around. So I'm kind of with Anthony on that. I like that, man. That's good. I got some pro bono hours. That's a bummer.
Yeah.
I
got my heaven points. I'm getting in heaven. God.
Yeah. And like, I remember, this is nuts, but like, maybe this may not be quite the same for mortgage officers and real estate professionals as well, but like, keep score, guys. Like, I mean, you get one big freebie on me. Okay. Like, you show up a second time and like, you're opening an account and transferring money, or like, we're not talking. Like, and I don't like to be like that with people either. Like, hey, I'm usually super happy go lucky and like, oh, I'll help you with anything. I'll help anybody. But it's more, does this person earn that? Do you know that they're already going to come into it with that air of disrespect of just like, well, you're the professional, but I can save an extra buck because you really weren't worth it. You don't define my worth. Never will. So yeah, I mean, that's the best way to look at it. I think he's right on there.
Well, 2 off the record questions that I don't have in a pre-scripted. Where do you? It's tough, especially with Anthony, and maybe yourself as well, David. How do you show them like, hey, I know what I'm knowledgeable without spilling all the beans? That's a tap dance that we have to do. I have to show that I'm knowledgeable, but I can't give you too much. Then what you're gonna do is take my information and go somewhere else. So that's tough. That's question A. And then B is that most people, that don't respect your time and don't respect what you're off, do you automatically cut them off, or do you still do business with them? If you already see it coming, they're already telegraphing what type of person they are. Do you, hey, I've done it before. I'm like, hey, listen, people do business with me because they want to do business with me. If you're looking for a transaction, I gracefully bow out. If you're just looking for the lowest rate, I could get that for you, but people do business with me because they want to do business with me. So if you're looking for the closest, I can give you whatever rate that you want. But You know, if that's you're just looking for the number, that's it. You know, I mean, I gracefully bow out. You know, you're not gonna have me do all the work and do all the heavy lifting, and then I don't get paid at the end. That's like me saying, all right, I have two people. I have you cut my lawn, and I say, all right, that's cool, and then I have somebody else weed eat, and then I pay the person that actually, does the weed whacking for me. You know, but you cut the lawn. All he did was, did the weed whacking for me.
That's it. That's it, man. Anthony, you want to shoot on this one first? You want to?
Yeah. So, I mean, I to be fair, I do know every single person that has taken advantage of my time. Right?
Right.
I still have the names in the back of my head. Right.
Right.
So I've struggled with this in the past, but what I do now, the approach I take now is I'm going to give value no matter what, whether that person recognizes it or not. So what I do is, at some point, I am very liberal and judicious with the value I give out the gate, but I'm ruthless with the line I draw. Once I draw the line, then I stick to it. When I say line, that means, okay, now that means you can't text me at 7:30, 8 o'clock on a Friday night or a Saturday night and then get my full attention, right? You have to wait to my dates, right? I don't have the 24/7 thing like Brandon does. I need a life, right? So I'm ruthless when it comes to that. But even at that case, in that point, there are 3 guys I know right now that I would say ghosted or took advantage of my time, didn't recognize the value, whatever you want to call it. I still market to those people, right? Even though they're not my ideal client, because at some point I would love to say, I only work with the people I want to work with. I am not at that point yet. I have not arrived yet. So everybody, whether or not they did me wrong or did whatever in the beginning, they still get marketed to, because at some point people change, they realize the mistakes they've made, and then at some point they keep hearing you in their ear and they say, you know what, I did that guy wrong, but he gave me value. Even after that, I'm going to recommend him someone else, right? So there's still that opportunity there. Everybody I talk to is a referral partner. There are some people that might be my ambassadors, some people that might not refer me, but everybody has an opportunity, even the people that I don't like.
Right.
So,
right. Let's
Man,
go
you
ahead.
just may be a better businessman than me, Anthony. I mean, that was good, man.
It took a while because I get hurt. My feelings get hurt. Right?
Oh man, I mean, yeah, I'll tell you guys, that's probably happened to me about 500-600 times. No kidding. And I mean, it's mainly just from volume and being in the business. I talked to Brandon about this some, but historically, this is I'm going on my 20th year in this business. So I work, for major Fortune 500 banks here in Houston. Also some of the biggest brokerage firms in the country that are real high volume. And, as I did that, everybody takes advantage of you, it's like, that's just what you do. And, but there's a point where either way, I was honored to do it. And, in some way, regardless of whether I made any money on it or whether it was good, because it wasn't good. I hate when that happens. They were better off for knowing me, and whether they want to admit it or not, they were better off for knowing me. And at that point I win, it's fine. I don't need them. So, I mean, I don't need them. They needed me. They still do, but I don't need them. So, I mean, I want them, I just don't need them. So that's how I look at it. I have to look at it as there's, somebody told me
putting good juju out there. You see, you put good, seeds out there. The more you throw good seeds, the more you have to harvest, right? However,
right.
My mentor, Mattress Mac, always used to say, you're a fool if you don't get credit for what you do. So where's the line? All right, do I need to get paid? I need to get credit, or do I just give out there to everybody? If that's the case, then I'm gonna be a nonprofit.
Right.
Just go ahead and just give mortgage advice to everybody. But you know what I'm saying? How would I get paid at that point? So it's a fine line. This is tough. And this wasn't what the show is about, but let's, what I'm saying? But it is an interesting point. This is a pain point for me at year 10. It's still, I still got people that want me to diagnose them. And then another pet peeve for me is that when I do diagnose, you don't argue with the diagnosis. I had somebody say the other day, all right, they asked me about a HELOC in Texas for investment property. Yes, you can. You know, you can do a HELOC for investment property.
Yeah.
Now, a big bank won't, but we have 305 investors and lenders. We have banks that will do a HELOC on an investment property in Texas. Yes. Well, you can't. You might want to look into that. I'm like, ma'am, look into what? I've been doing this for 10 years. Are you serious?
You didn't just move to Texas yet last week. Like,
right. Are you serious? And I hope she sees this, kind of, and I usually don't
Classic.
get mad out. That almost got me mad. Like, are you serious? So let's get to the next question. We're down to the last two clips here. All right. So is integrity revealed by what you do when nobody can verify your actions? So to go to what we were just saying, my mentor said that you don't get credit for what you're doing. If you, like David said, if you gave them this advice and they don't acknowledge you, did you really do it?
No, acknowledgement, because the acknowledgement relies on the psychological makeup of that other person. You can never rely on the other person's mindset. They might be going through something. They might be, just not in a position to even recognize the value. You know what value you delivered. Now, the credit you're looking for, the credit you need, can be a couple different things. It could be monetary. Obviously, everybody chases monetary credit, but it could just be the fact that you did your job to the utmost ability. I like when I get done with a call and I know I aced it, I feel good. That's enough for me, right? Now, obviously, I need to pay my bills, but I feel like if I chase that feeling, the bills get paid somehow. If I'm chasing the bills might get paid, but I might not feel great, right? So I chase the feeling of knowing I did good work, and then when I just somehow the bills get paid when I do that.
I don't know. That's. I think it's all about MMAs, money making activities.
Right.
So I feel like I get it. It can help, but if it is like gaining a yard, if we're using football analogies, but it's not a touchdown until you actually close that loan. So if I feel like I'm, gaining 2 yards every time, 2 yards, don't forget 4 times 2 is only 8. That's not enough to make a first down.
Right.
So I don't need these 2 yard conversations. I need something that's going to make some first downs and move the sticks, right? So if I'm not getting an application, or if I'm not getting a commitment that you're going to, do business, like sometimes this is not necessarily a money making activity. Now there's relationships that you could build. So like I said, it's not a total, it's not a sack or anything like that, but I get, you feel good, but I feel good when it says clear to close. Not even when it says clear to close. Don't forget we broke. I don't feel good until every hit.
Yeah.
So you're getting paid today.
Well, so let me give you an example. So I've just had to kind of revamp my whole process.
Right.
Here in North Carolina is new construction heavy, right?
Right. Well,
so,
Texas as well.
Right, and the incentives they offer are crazy. So what I start doing was I would get a client and go take them through my sales process, and I over deliver, right? So the crazy amount of value, and then they end up going to the new construction where I have to tell them, hey,
right,
I can compete, but if it was me, I'd take that new construction lender deal. But what I'm going to do for you is I'm going to still prepare you, because they're going to screw up on certain things guaranteed, just because you're the 30th person they're talking to that week, right? So I'm still going to prepare you in the way that I would prepare someone that I knew was doing business with me. And I realized that got me a couple things. Number one, the loyalty is crazy. When I tell someone that I'm going to treat you the way I would treat someone I'm doing business with, no matter what, whether you do business with me or not, and I'm going to be with you going forward. I'm now marketing. I'm your mortgage guy no matter who you do your transaction with, because we talked, right? So that means now you have in your head that this guy is going to give me value no matter what. So now there is that guilt. So whether they want to work with me or if that deal is so similar that maybe the builder's giving them slightly a better deal, they're coming with me because of that whole idea, right? And now I've had this happen this past week. A client ended up going with a Lennar property because the incentive was so heavy, but they referred me 3 other people that day in the same day. I've never gotten 3 referrals from a client in one day, right? And this is not somebody I closed alone, right? So I had to figure out that I couldn't, because what I was doing was I was talking to buyers and I was scared if they wanted to go new construction. And it just changed my whole entire dynamic, and I didn't like it. So I said, I'm going to continue doing what I do, give them the value. And then at some point, I'm going to get credit either from closing, maybe closing down a line, or a referral. And that's served me well. So I that's what I've done lately.
That's pretty good. Cause like I said, my whole energy changes because I'm going to start. It's almost like that. You go on that date and that woman whips out the phone when the food arrives, and then she starts to go live and say,
You're like, oh God.
Yeah. So it's almost like that. All right, how much can you use me? Use me, but don't abuse me.
Right.
So it's so I start feeling that particular way. But I definitely can improve in that. So I would take that under consideration, but tighten up my pitch. Like, I don't know, how much can you give them? Do you feel like are you gonna go separate checks, or you gonna pay for that steak dinner if she's on her phone the whole time?
I mean, I'm leaving. I don't want to have, when it comes to that, I business. I got a long leeway, but when it comes to personal stuff, I don't play that game.
Right. But but it's similar situations. Like I
just pay for it. I just pay for it.
It's kind of hard to every time when you don't want to pay me. So
it's just.
But Anthony, I do give you that is a mature way to look at it. But
I don't know.
It's hard to be programmed. My mentor always used to say, "Spend time with those that's buying."
Right.
Yeah.
So it, like, I used to waste time with a lot of people that need credit challenge, and and I was wasting my time. I look back, I had my first year in business, I had 400 people that I referred to credit cleaning.
Jeez.
And guess how many I closed?
What, 5?
6. No, 1.
Oh,
yeah, that's crazy.
That's bad.
That's how the numbers are. That's how they shake out.
So nah, I'm not doing this anymore. I switched who I market to and who I'm around. Now, will I turn down first time home buyers? No. However, this is what you need to do, X, Y, Z. Boom, I'm on to the next, because I dump all this into you. I pour into you. The yield has to be worth the investment.
Yeah.
And so a lot of times they're never going to get it together. There's always going to be one thing after the other. So it's not, the goal is not about how many people I can talk to, even though that's an increment. You talk to more people by default, it should lead to more business. But don't confuse activity with accomplishment. That's what my mentor always used to say.
Right? Yep, that's a big one. Yeah,
right.
That's right.
David, did you want to tackle that before we watch this second to last clip here?
Man, I'm loving it. No, this was good. Go for it. That's good.
Gotcha. All right, let's go ahead and let me know when y'all can see the screen here.
Offers from her own seller. One, 50 grand over asking. Then allegedly trying to buy the house herself. This one's wild. Stay with me. Summer 2025. A Mediterranean villa at 3400 Foothill Terrace lists for about $9.5 million. The listing agent, Kumara Wilcoxon, the top producing residential agent in Austin. The seller, an out-of-state trustee, reportedly 78 years old. September 4th, buyer's agent Amy Dean of Moreland brings an all-cash offer, $9.5 million, $50,000 over asking. According to the complaint, Dean called about 10 times with no answer, and Wilcoxon never presented the offer to the seller, but allegedly texted Dean that she had. The next day, the buyers come back full price plus a free lease back. The complaint says they were told to wait nearly a week, blamed on a home the seller had recently bought in Bozeman, Montana, while the house kept showing to other buyers. Frustrated, the Fitzpatricks withdrew. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Months later, on a recorded call, Will Coxon allegedly tells Dean she informed the seller there was a full price offer, but per the complaint, refused to provide any proof. The seller's daughter's account is the opposite. She says the offers were never presented and they would have accepted on the spot. Then the kicker. The complaint alleges Will Coxon revealed a personal interest in the home. Quote, I tried to get him to buy Foothills, but then he went quiet on me, referring to a family member buying it. None of that was ever disclosed during negotiations. The home eventually sold for $8.4 million, over $1 million under that full price offer. The seller's attorney sent a demand letter seeking $1.36 million for breach of fiduciary duty, fraud, and deceptive trade practices. The complaint even references Texas elder exploitation statutes and names the sponsoring broker for failing to supervise. But here's the fairness part. TREC reviewed it and declined to pursue disciplinary action, citing insufficient evidence. Though it was concerned about her conduct, her broker has called the whole thing blown out of proportion. Nothing has been proven in court. These are just allegations. Agents, the takeaway is simple. Present every offer in writing every time and disclose any personal interests. Your clients come before you. Follow the real estate stories that'll make you sharper. Austin's #1
Well, so I'll let you go ahead and react to that, but let me go ahead and pose a question. It's kind of similar. Should professionals be judged only by what they could legally do or by the fiduciary duty that clients trust them to uphold? So David, Anthony, I want to take a stab at that.
Yeah. So that clip is interesting for a couple of reasons. So number one, TREC, I'm assuming, is the real estate commission out there in Texas.
Yeah, Texas Real Estate Commission.
So what if I know I'm not a realtor. Let me preface by saying that. But what they're asking them to do is prosecute their #1 residential agent in the entire state.
No, in Austin area.
In Austin. Okay, that's a big. I'm assuming Austin's a big market out there, right?
Yeah, one of those.
So she's a heavy hitter.
Right. Well, Austin, it doesn't take much because everything out there is expensive.
That's right.
Exactly.
Right.
So my question is that number one, was there no proof that the offer was presented? Because the daughter is the one complaining. I didn't hear anything from the seller. Now they say the seller was 78 years old, maybe, but I didn't hear the seller complain. I heard the daughter complain. And whenever you're dealing with 78-year-old and daughter property being sold, somebody didn't get the cut they want. So you got to take that with a grain of salt, because if they said that there was no proof to prosecute or whatever, that tells me that we're not getting all the information, right? So I don't know. All I know is,
well, they said it was inconclusive proof.
Well, so here's the proof.
Right.
Here's the thing. Did you or did you not present it to the seller? So it sounds like there's a hearsay. I talked it to the seller versus I presented it in writing.
Right. That's what.
So if that's the case, then
you could show an email so here's my email. I presented.
But you're also dealing with a 78-year-old, right? So there are 78-year-olds that don't show me no damn email. I don't want to even look at an email. Let's have a conversation.
Right.
Now you got to record every conversation. Is Texas a two-party state? Right. So there's a lot.
Yeah, it's a two-party state.
Right. So, I would say to prepare yourself for next, if you're a real estate agent listening to this, is document everything. Right.
Right. For sure.
Communicate through your CRM. Make sure there's always a transcript of every call. Make sure there's a text record. There's an email record, and put it all in writing. Right. We have to do that in our business too.
Right. Yeah, man. And then don't forget, like in our business, those ghosts or phantom texts, they definitely are shoppers that's trying to get you to lure, you into, saying something. Can I, you rapidly rescore my credit for me?
Yeah, you pay for it.
That's when you get in trouble. That's
I like messing with them though. I don't know.
right now. But yeah, he said he goes to text message. But
Yeah.
David, you want to tackle that?
Yeah, man. I
Especially
mean,
as you're a fiduciary, so
I am. Yeah, I mean, I have a triple fiduciary standard, so I'm, you know, and I take it real seriously, man. I love people, and I mean, I'm just a weird guy. Like, you know, I don't love them all the time, but most of the time, like, it's just, you know, and so like I really get a kick out of making them money. Like, it just makes me happy. It's like a weird thing, and it's when you know you're good at it and you're meant to do that, that's what you do, you know. And so, but yeah, I mean, I have a triple fiduciary standard. You know, I've got one to my firm, so Edward Jones. You know, I've got one to the regulators. You know, I mean, SEC and FINRA. I mean, you better watch it with them and do the right thing when nobody's looking all the time. And then the CFP board of Regents. You know, the CFP board. I have an additional fiduciary standard, and I take that really seriously. You know, like I try to remember that this is somebody's mother or father or brother.
Right.
You know, and to me, like if they come into my office, they're my family, man. Like if they're having trouble, if they have issues, like I'm there to help them. You know, if they say, hey, I need to get points down on my mortgage. Do you know somebody that'll refi me out of my arm in Virginia? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. And I have one guy I just met. Okay. And so the answer is, you know, I have to be there to help them with stuff that's not for me all the time. You know, and that's just, I love that. That's like that, you know, and they don't always appreciate it. Like they do want that for free. I mean, they're there, you know, I don't care. It's worth it. You know, in 20 years, I'll end up retired and I won't be as rich as I could have been, you know, but I don't really care. I'll know that I did the right thing. Sleep like a baby. So that's it. You know, I have fun with it. Got to have fun with what you do.
Right.
You know,
got you. Let's go ahead to the next question this is the last, and this is the meat. This is the kicker here. All right. So, when your career is over, what will matter more? How much wealth you build, or how you built it? And this kind of was a piggybacking your last question, your last statement you made. So you was going right into the last thing here.
Yeah, I'd rather die poor and have a lot of people at my funeral that cry. Isn't that weird? Like, I know I don't really want them to cry. Like, I want them to be like, yes, like this guy is awesome. Like, you know, I had a good life because of this, or like, this is what he helped me with, and fill in the blank. If it was move a couch, like that's good enough. Like if that's what I helped them with, that makes my day, man. So I think it's how you built it.
Right. Anthony, you want
to? Agreed. Yeah, man. I mean, yeah, you know, I'm sure there are a lot of people that have a lot of money that die in a very, you know, rigid, cold funeral home. Right. So it is important to me that when I'm on my deathbed, I know I help people. And there are many people that can show up and, you know, they know how much I touched their lives. And then how many people I touched my life. Right. So, yeah, I agree, man. It has to come down to why you're doing what you're doing and, you know, how that's going to make you feel when it's all said and done, you know? And it's not, you know, everybody doesn't have the luxury of being able to do, like you said, Brandon, we are not, what's the word you used? Entitled to live a fulfilled life, right?
Right.
People don't make it all the time, right? And the fact that
most people don't make it.
Yeah, most people don't make it, right? The fact that we get to our old age is already a bonus, right? So, yeah, you're not entitled to living a fulfilled life and being wealthy and you know and all. You get what you get what you put out there. So, you know, that's my outlook on it.
I think the both work together like peanut butter and jelly. I mean, I think you're gonna build as much wealth if you build it a certain way. I think people that cut corners always wind up you get short victories, but you're not gonna win the actual war. I think when you like we talked about earlier, when you know somebody gives you something, like you know we talked about the $1 million crack party, you're gonna mess it all up anyway. So if you don't go through the actual nuances of learning how to build this particular business, if you don't put the systems in place, if you don't go through the blood, sweat, and the tears, you're not going to maximize your wealth anyway. So I think you have to go through it, and you have to do it the right way in order to maximize your potential, maximize your 16. You got 16 hours that you're all day, 8 hours that you sleep. So you got to maximize that 16 hours a day. Everybody has the same 24, right? Is what you do with it. So I think it works together hand in hand. You know, people try to cut corners. I'll give you an example. Remember the original White Men Can't Jump with Wesley Snipes and Woody Harrelson? Right? Yeah, not the remake. The remake was kind of
not as good.
Yeah, it was not as good. But the original, Woody, this stuck with me for the I'll quote 2 movies. Let me do that one. Let's do 2 for the money. But let's talk about White Men Can't Jump. Woody Harrelson said this, and it stuck with me for the rest of my life. He said, "See, the problem with black people is you rather look good and lose than look bad and win." and that stuck with me. Like, damn, you know, that goes to the first clip. Like, damn, you rather go broke to look like you're rich. You buy the Mercedes, but you have $5 worth of gas in it. You'll have this $1,000 t-shirt on, but you're paycheck to paycheck. You know, why not say that, look bad for a little while and really win? You know, who cares? You know, who cares about, like I said, who cares if this is a $50 shirt? Who cares if it's 50 or 500? The people that do care, you want to kind of hold your wallet if they really care about that. You know, so then the second thing I want to quote 2 for the money. Another one of my favorite movies. He said, Walter, you know, the guy's name was Walter. It was about sports betting, but the underlying thing was about winners and losers, right? And he said, Walter, you know, Walter said he's a lemon. You know, he looked like everybody else, and I had to play that clip probably off air, but because they had a lot of cursing in it. But we look, you know, a lot of lemons look like everybody else, but they have a defect in them, and the defect is they want to feel something, so they mess stuff up on purpose. Because the self-sabotage feel better than the doing the right thing and the struggle, and because it's more instant. So you got to ask yourself, are you a lemon? Does the instant gratification feel better than the abstaining and doing it right? Because I see this, and this is society all the time. I seen this in the gym earlier today. Before a guy did any of the sets, he first set up his camera. You haven't even gotten the gym yet, Carly. You're setting up the camera and you're flexing for the gram already. That's the new society. You want to look the part, you know, first.
Yeah.
You know, so let's get into the last clip, and then we'll get on the final thoughts here. All right, let me know when y'all can see the screen.
Right way.
All right, there it is.
They see scammers making millions. Grifters build their platforms and getting success overnight through get-rich-quick schemes, manipulation, and exploitation. And to a lot of people today, it makes the slow route look stupid. But here's what people aren't seeing, and I hope this video helps someone. It's that you're watching speed, not sustainability. That's a big difference. See, most people treat integrity like it's a moral bonus, but scripture teaches us that it's infrastructure. That's why in Proverbs, it says wealth gained hastily will dwindle. That doesn't mean it will disappear immediately, but it means it's built on something that can't hold it. Anyone can make money fast. That is not impressive. But what's rare is having the discipline to manage it, structure to multiply, and the character to keep it. Because money doesn't just test your lifestyle, it exposes your foundation. And that's why you always see the same cycle. Scammers make millions, then they disappear. People doing illegal activity, building empires, then losing it all. People blowing up overnight, then crashing publicly. And that's not because of bad luck. It's because they skipped the process that teaches you how to keep what you get. People don't understand that the slow route is not just about patience. It's where you build systems, judgment, discipline, relationships that aren't based on what you can give. So when the money comes, it doesn't destroy you. That's why the verse in Proverbs finishes with, but whoever gathers little by little will increase it. It's not just about money. That's about capacity, because capacity is what actually creates wealth. Contrary to what people believe, wealth is not just about how much money you make. It's about how it was built and whether it can survive you. So the real question you should be asking yourself is, would I even be able to keep it if I got it like that? Because if the answer is no, then what you calling slow is actually preparation.
Ooh, mic drop on the preparation.
I know Anthony liked the end of that one. Yeah, that's it.
Right. So I'll let y'all go ahead and digest it, then I'll form the question as well. the second to last question. And we've become so obsessed with winning fast that we've forgotten what it takes to build something that lasts and that rhymes.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Yeah, that's a big one, man. I think that's why I kind of ran with the Prepper brand, is understanding that preparation is how you earn your result, right? Because number one, it takes preparation just to even figure out what you're doing and how to get to where you want to get to, right? And once you understand that, having the whole going through the whole process of trial and error, right? Taking one step at a time, forecasting where you're going to see the market change, if you see any changes, or just kind of figuring out what happens as you take those small incremental steps. That's you building that preparation. You're getting that muscle memory. You're understanding. You're getting experience. You're understanding what works, what doesn't work. And now what you're able to do is reach back and teach somebody, right? Because you're going through the motions the right way. So I think the preparation piece, I mean, that's a very powerful clip. I was hoping you played that one because I've been on a deep dive on that guy's content since about you text me a couple hours ago. So I would love to get more clips from him. Like he's saying all the right things. But yeah, preparation, that's it, man. That's life. It's preparation.
Right there. My mentor used to say proper preparation prevents piss poor performance, right?
Yeah.
Right.
The P's, right?
Was your mentor a football coach, man? He says a lot of things.
No, he used to play for University of Texas. Mattress Mac, but he wasn't any good at football. But he has a lot of old school coach in him. In fact, next week. I don't know anybody that
played at Texas. Was a Texas Longhorn that wasn't pretty good at football. I'm pretty sure.
Right. Yeah,
that's a prerequisite to get on the team.
So, David, you want to, before I get the last word, or you want me to go?
Man, I mean, I think it comes back to, I think what we've talked about tonight is just that nothing worth doing is easy. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be quick sometimes. Even if it is quick, it probably is still getting better. So it's going to get hard at some point. So, I mean, I think that's something to just remember is, bet on yourself and just remember it's not going to be quick or easy most of the time. So.
Right. I think society has become obsessed with winning fast because, again, it's the keeping up with the Joneses, as Anthony alluded to earlier, on steroids, because we could post real time, we could have live real time, and everybody's broadcasting their highlight reel, right? And so it's that's part of it, and then part of it as well is that the discipline is gone, from a lot of households. There is, that's part of the problem as well. Like, a lot of fathers are not in the household anymore. So it's like, if you look at, especially in Texas, we don't want to have the highest debt because, they're going to run up that credit card bill. There is no dad saying, nah, we don't need that stuff. We don't need that junk from Amazon. I even had to check myself and smell myself. I had all this stuff, all these gadgets, these kitchen gadgets, and doing it. I don't even cook. I don't even own a pot or pan. Like, it looked cool. I ordered it, so I had a workout room in my house in Katy, and it became furniture. So I ordered all this state-of-the-art Bowflex stuff, and
not the Bowflex.
Yeah, I had a $3,500 Bowflex, one of those
with the little arms, with the little things. I used to love that.
I had one of those. I had the machine with the stepper and stuff with the
like the Stairmasters,
like the Stairmaster things, and it collected dust. It was
you were hanging your laundry on it.
I still had the stickers on it. Still had the stickers on it. So it became furniture. So it's like I buy all this stuff and then don't use it. So the thing is that I had to readjust my thinking. As far as I make a lot of money, but I was, you spend a lot of money too, and it is just to again, this kid keep up with the Joneses, I guess. And people really, a lot of people don't build for the future. A lot of people embrace this YOLO life. You only live once. And a lot of people don't build for, I'll give you an example. We talked about this on the very first Power of Ownership podcast. You know, a lot of communities got rich off of life insurance, you know, and I'm glad David's here. I wanted to bring this up at some point, you know. Don't forget that you don't need insurance. You don't have to even be related to put an insurance policy on somebody.
That's right.
You know, so a lot of communities got rich by everybody had an insurance policy on everybody. You know, aunts, uncles, you know, everybody chipped in and everybody had an insurance policy. One thing for sure, two things for certain, somebody will kick off. And when they kick off, that's when you cash in. So everybody, you know, and they split the pie, you know, when they kicked off, bam, all right, well, aunt kicked off, we got $1 million, let's go and split this 10 ways, we all got 100,000. Then all right, well, uncle died now, all right, we got another $1 million, boom. So, and that's how they got wealthy. But we'll have we'll have a triple Netflix subscription. You can get the life insurance policy on Aunt Mabel for the Netflix for the same amount.
That's just like an office chipping in for like lottery tickets. Like, you know, like they're gonna win it at least.
Right. You're going. That's one thing for sure. You're going to win. That's 100%. That's one of the greatest investments you can make is a life insurance policy because you know for sure it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when you're going to cash in.
Right.
You know. So, but if you're looking for to protect it and going to the next, what's better than a death benefit? You know. What's better than that? That's how you pass generation, you know. But instead of that, we chose to have a Hulu subscription. So that instead of getting us life insurance, and then when your kids die, I mean, when you die, your kids have to, you know, sell plates to bury you, right?
Yeah. I had an old advisor once. He said, "David, do you think that, you know, this other company is our biggest competitor?" And it was at the time. And I was like, "Oh yeah. Yeah." And he goes, "You're wrong, man. It's Olive Garden." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" It's like, "No, come on." He goes, "Because people are there like every day or every other day. They spend $40. It's not a lot." And he's like, "They're not buying that life insurance for $40." And I'm like, "Oh man, like I hate when he's right, but he was right."
Right. Eating out, all the frivolous stuff, you know. Going out to the movie is going to cost you $100 at least nowadays.
At least,
you know. So, you know, it's priorities. You know, so that's the thing, is that's what it takes. And I want to allude to what I said earlier. It's so boring. Greatness is boring. To be, you know, to do it right is boring, and especially if you're not coming from where you have a silver spoon in your mouth. You have to. You're already playing from behind. You're already down 21 points. You got to come from behind to win the game. So you don't have any time for error. But most people, we talked about this on the podcast before, that most people live for vacations. I think, Anthony, the last time you were there, like, all right, screw it, we're going on vacation. We're not buying the houses when we're going on vacation. Just enjoy it. They live for the dopamine hit. They live for enjoyment. I get it. It's all about memories, but sometimes when will the buck stop? The buck's gonna have to stop somewhere, or you know, what does it say? The sins of the parents will visit the children, right?
Right.
So that impoverished mindset is going to, and you're going to pass the burden on to your children, and they're going to be handicapped as well because they're not going to be able to function because of the way you behave. Because they're basically a reflection of you now.
Right. And that's a good point, Brandon. And I don't know, I don't think we have time for this one, but that actual last creator that we talked about, he has another couple of videos where he talks about not just passing along that wealth, but passing on the capacity to handle that wealth. Right. That's a really good point that I haven't really thought about is, are you equipping your children with the skills they need to not blow that money in one generation?
Right.
You know?
Most people are too worried about being friends with the kids instead of being parents. Right. You know? Yeah. And that's the whole thing. And I'm glad there's some of these videos that's coming back that, you know, masculinity is kind of coming back, or that's the fight right now that we're trying to fight.
We ain't allowed to say it just yet, Brandon. You got to keep it. You can't say that word just yet. We're not ready yet. We're not ready yet.
Right. So yeah, you see what happened to Tate. So I don't want to right. So, but yeah, let's go ahead and get the last question here and the last statement here. So after watching all of the clips, what's the one thing you're taking away from this episode? David, I'll go ahead and start with you.
Man, I'm grateful for tonight, man. Like, I had fun with you guys. You know, I mean, I see this as an opportunity, but just everything, you know, like I had a lot of fun with it. So I mean, that's the one thing I'm going to take away from this is just making sure that I take that feeling, like that's it. Just have a good time with it, man. So had a good time with you guys.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I love meeting you, David. Good, great energy. We're aligned. We say the same things. We have the same heart for this business. So I do appreciate you inviting me back on here, Brandon. One thing I did learn that I'm like, it's kind of blowing my mind is that whole idea of everybody in the family taking out like group life insurance, life insurance on everybody. And just, I'm always obsessed with like, I'm building a family compound right now as we speak, right? Because I have a lot of brothers and sisters and some extended family that I'm kind of trying to help us all elevate as a family.
Right. You need to get with David here.
That's a great tactic right there.
Right. Everybody. That's how, I can't name no names because we are on partly YouTube, but that's how some communities got rich. That's how they got wealthy.
Right.
Buy life insurance. That's one of the safest investments you could make because it's guaranteed. You're guaranteed for a payday. Now, you might not be here to enjoy it. The thing is, you got to have communal people in your family in order to do that. Right. You got to do it for the greater good, so you might not be around to enjoy it, but you're pooling your money and you're investing your money into something that's going to pay off for your kids. So with that being said, the final thought of the day is integrity is the foundation of ownership. Your finances, reputation, relationships, and legacy will never rise higher than your character.
Ooh, that's good.
So yeah, you could cut corners. Yeah, you could, get away for a certain amount of time, like the last clip said. But are you building? Can you scam your way, and can you pass a scam business off to your kids? Can you cut corners? And eventually, if you cut so many corners, your children are watching that, so they're going to want cut corners. So when will the buck stop? So your family. Your reputation, your relationship, all of that is based around your character. So my mentor said, I'm going to end it on this. You do it right, you do it right. You do it right, you do it light. You do it wrong, you do it long.
I like that. I like that, man.
So do the right thing and excel at the right thing. And with that, we're going to see y'all next week.
Hey, good seeing you guys.
Take it easy.
Y'all have a good night.
Take ownership. Don't make excuses. Don't blame any other person or any other thing. Get control of your ego. Take ownership of everything in your world, the good and the bad. Take ownership of your mistakes. Take ownership of your shortfalls. Take ownership of your problems. And then take ownership of the solutions that will get those problems solved. And when a team takes ownership of its problems, the problems get solved. And that is true on the battlefield, it is true in business, and it is true in life.